directors of INEC, other senior officials here present, the technical aides to the chairman, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Let me also start by congratulating the newly registered political parties that are attending this meeting for the first time. You are welcome on board. Together we will salvage democracy in Nigeria by the grace of God. On behalf of the leadership of political parties in Nigeria, I am honored to address this distinguished gathering of critical issues, if not urgently addressed, could undermine the integrity of our electoral process and jeopardize the success of the 2027 general elections. As a key stakeholder in the Nigeria democratic system, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, is duly bound to draw both the national and international attention to evident shortcomings in the current electoral legal framework shortcomings that have the potential to impede, weaken, and destabilize our hard-earned democracy. Nigerians participated actively in the public hearing of the Constitutional Electoral Act amendments, with the expectations that their contributions would eliminate in a progressive, inclusive, and people-oriented Electoral Act. Unfortunately, the Electoral Act 2026 falls short of these expectations. Rather than advancing our democratic journey, it represents a significant regression, one that must be urgently addressed in national interest. It is particularly concerning that the contentious Electoral Act formed the basis upon which INEC released the timetable and schedules for the 2027 general elections. This had inadvertently placed immense pressure on political parties, especially those outside government, thereby constraining their ability to effectively prepare and contribute to building a strong, inclusive, and stable democratic nation. In this regard, IPAC firmly demands that the National Assembly, as a matter of urgency, revisit and amend the Electoral Act 2026. Specifically, the provisions mandating direct primaries must be reconsidered, and the option of direct primaries restored, or indirect primary restored. The choice of candidate selection method remains an internal affair of political parties and must not be subjected to undue legislative interference. Furthermore, the requirement for political parties to submit their membership registers, including members' national identification numbers, within the limited time frame of 1st to 21st of April 2026 is impractical and exclusionary. This provision risks disenfranchising a large segment of Nigerians who lack access to new registration facilities. In the spirit of inclusivity and participatory democracy, this requirement should be expunged. Equally important is the restoration of the electronic transmission of election results after collation of polling unit. Transition of results to the IREV should be mandatory immediately after results are announced at the polling unit, and no proviso is required. This is a fundamental demand of the Nigerian people and a critical safeguard for electoral transparency. The challenges experienced during the 2023 presidential election serve as a reminder of the risks associated with lapses in this area. Such occurrences must not be allowed to reoccur. This, the Council reiterated at the recently concluded General Assembly meeting. It is also deeply troubling that the new Electoral Act appeared to weaken penalties for vote buying, an offense that continues to erode the credibility of our elections. IPAC reiterates its call for the establishment of an Electoral Offences Commission to ensure that violators are held accountable. Stronger sanctions will serve as deterrent and reinforce the sanctity of our democratic process. We have also taken steps by appealing to the National Assembly to urgently repeal the 2026 Electoral Act in the interest of credible and transparent electoral process. We are also calling on development partners to to urgently deploy their diplomatic influence in the interest of sustainable democracy in Nigeria. Leadership in a democratic society must be anchored on integrity, credibility, and accountability. So it is imperative that we collectively sanitize our political environment and uphold standards that inspire public trust. The prevailing trust deficit and voter apathy will persist unless decisive steps are taken to reform the current electoral framework. The international community is closely observing Nigeria's democratic trajectory with high expectations for improved outcomes in the 2027 general elections. We must rise to this responsibility. As we look ahead to the Ekiti and Osun governorship elections, INEC must also demonstrate preparedness, professionalism, and technological efficiency, particularly in the deployment of beavers and the IRF portal. There must be zero tolerance for lapses. The credibility of the Commission is at stake, and public confidence hinges on the assurance that every vote will count. As the umbrella body of foreign star political parties, IPAC remains committed to its mandate of fostering political stability, promoting credible elections, and deepening democracy in Nigeria. We will continue to engage constructively in pursuit of democratic system that guarantees fairness, inclusivity, sustainability, and national development. Thank you all. God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.